It is a Thursday morning, a very, very busy Thursday morning. And remember, tomorrow morning at this time, we'll have our United Way Turkey-thon. So that is going to be a big deal tomorrow. We'll be talking with you about that as this morning comes along. And right now, we want to visit with Indiana County District Attorney Bob Manzi joining us in the studio. Our visit presented by Marcus & Mack, voted best law firm and best personal injury lawyer 4 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online at marcusandmack.com. The district attorney yesterday issuing a statement on the officer-involved shooting that happened in the Dixonville area in October, about a month, a little bit over a month ago, in which a man lost his life, and we want to ask him about that this morning. Good morning, first of all.
Good morning, Todd. How are you today?
Wonderful. Good to have you in the studio with us. Your ruling, of course, is that it was a justified shooting. I think one of the things that we have to get a handle on immediately is that people want it to be immediate. They want to know exactly what happened, and they want to know it now, but that's not how investigations happen, is it?
No, that's not how an investigation can happen. We want to be able to gather every piece of information possible so that when we do come up with a determination, it is based on the law and it is based on every piece of evidence that we're able to get our hands on.
Yeah, and in this case, there was a lot of information that needed to be gathered together, needed to be compiled and placed in order so that you could understand exactly what happened on that night.
Yeah, absolutely. In this investigation, whenever we have an officer-involved shooting in one barracks, you'll have a crime unit from a different barracks who don't work with those individuals take over the investigation so that it's an independent investigation. They don't work with those men and women. They're able to look at that through independent eyes. They take a great deal of time and effort to gather every piece of information they're able to gather. When they turned the investigation over to me, we had over 60 videos from body-worn cameras, from MVR cameras in police cruisers, in home security systems from in and around the neighborhood. We had interviews with everyone that was able to provide information that day. All of the recordings from the various 911 calls that came in. We had all of the radio transmissions from all of the different officers that are, working through the incident. Mm-hmm. Emergency medical folks that are there on scene, firefighters. Every piece of evidence we're able to get our hands on, they got their hands on.
And that's on the night of the incident. The investigation itself, though, it has to go back to days, maybe even weeks or even months. Not that far back in this case, but it does have to go back in time a bit to get an idea of what led up to the incident before the incident occurred. So it's a tremendous amount of investigative work.
It's a lot of investigative work. It's a lot of manpower. It's a lot of hours put into it. Chain of custody, we want to make sure that they have the proper chain of custody for every piece of evidence so that if there's ever a question about the authenticity of that evidence, we're able to say this is exactly whose hands that piece of evidence went through. So if there's ever any problems, we're able to identify where that is.
Your determination that this was a justified shooting really shines a light on what was happening with this gentleman on the night of the shooting. We have to understand, first of all, his mother and his son were in the house when police arrived. Actually, they were out of the house by the time police arrived, but they were in at the beginning of this incident, and they fled the home. You really get into the details of exactly what happened last night, or on that night of October 5th, in order to show how you came to the conclusion that you did. And I know that it wasn't just you who took a look at these reports and everything. You rely heavily upon the investigators and upon the experts in cases such as this. So there's the investigation itself of the incident, and then you come in and you're looking at how police responded, how everybody responded, and to put all of this together and come up with a determination. It's not easy, number one, but number two, it has to be absolutely thorough.
It has to be absolutely thorough. And once we get the investigation from Pennsylvania State Police in Greensburg, it then turns over to my office, where it's not just me. It's myself, it's my first assistant, Dennis Clark, and it's both of my county detectives who have over 70 years of law enforcement experience between them. Mm-hmm. And we are all going through all of the evidence. and meeting and talking about it and trying to ask questions and push and prod because, again, this is no stone left unturned. This is an incredibly important case. We want to come to the right determination based upon the facts, based upon the law. So even after the investigators give it to us, you're talking about 4 individuals that are going through everything independently ourselves and then collectively together. So there's a very long process. It's an important process because we want to come to the right decision. It's very important. You know, a young man lost his life here, which is tragic. You had troopers who had to use lethal force, which they don't want to. Mm-hmm. They don't go to work wanting to use lethal force. They had to, and quite frankly, their efforts here were heroic, and no doubt in my mind, saved lives in that community that night. And I think most importantly, just being transparent with the community. You know, as you said earlier, people want answers and they want them right away. You know, we're not talking about a retail theft from Walmart. We're talking about a use of lethal force and somebody lost their life. It is vitally important in that transparency of what the investigation determined. That's why when I do that release, it talks about, you know, pieces of evidence that were captured on home security systems, body-worn cameras, MVRs, radio transmissions. We don't just rely on a person's recollection in a very serious situation there. We back it up with what does the evidence in the radios and the videos show us.
What emerges in this case is the thought that, first of all, you know, one of the factors is this man was very much mentally unstable. Number 2, that there was the very strong possibility, and now since confirmed, of the involvement of mind-altering substances. And maybe most importantly, that he had a gun, he was using that gun, and people's lives were in danger. Police, knowing that, they still had to approach him and this entire situation, knowing that there's somebody with a gun up there that could be firing in their direction.
Yes, I mean, they're talking to witnesses on scene that this individual is talking about people being possessed by the devil. So you start to wonder, is it drugs? Is it mental health? What is it? We come to find out through toxicological reports that he had an incredible amount of methamphetamine in his system. Mm-hmm. So you go with the state police that go on scene. They know that there's some instability there. They know that he fired a weapon at a family of 4, including children, while chasing them through the yard. They surround that house, knowing the strong possibility of more weapons being in there. Then they start seeing smoke come out of the house because he set his house on fire. And those troopers stood their ground between that house and other houses. That's a pretty close community. There's houses really close there. And they stood their ground in there, in between the perceived danger and the community. When that individual came out on the patio roof, when you hear the radio transmissions, you know, it's not a situation where he comes out on a roof and they immediately fire. He comes out on a roof. They're talking about how to get him off the roof safe from the fire. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what they're in. They're trying to de-escalate. They're trying to save him. He immediately lifts his body with the gun and fires at police. They immediately react the way they need to. So these are state troopers. These are people with families. These are people with children. These are members of our community that are putting their lives on the line, literally standing between danger and us. And they had to do what they did. If they didn't do that, if they didn't stand between him and the community, there is no doubt he would continue firing weapons on people.
And we understand as well that there was ammunition within the house that, as it burned, that ammunition heated up, and so there were more gunfire coming from more than just from him. And it is remarkable to understand all of this was happening and nobody else got hurt.
Yeah, I mean, it is. We're so fortunate. I mean, again, it's tragic. I don't know the gentleman who passed. You know, his family and friends have all talked about him being a very nice guy and a father. I think the drugs, you know, when you're taking drugs, they change who you are. Mm-hmm. And clearly that night he was under the influence of a significant amount of drugs. But the amount of people that were in danger that night, as he ran through the yard firing at the family of 4, he crashed his own truck into that gentleman's truck in the driveway. He had multiple guns. He had multiple boxes of ammunition. it could have been a lot worse than it was.
We know that police and investigators will all have after action reports, and they'll examine how their response was. There are lessons to be learned in any situation, and certainly in one like this. From your standpoint, what are some of the big things the community needs to know when incidents such as this occur?
Well, I think something that did happen here, and I want to applaud the community, is when this was happening, we received a great deal of 911 calls. We received a great number of calls from individuals who wanted to immediately report what's going on, ask for the police assistance, provide the information that they're seeing so that the police know what they're getting into. And then secondly, the community is not out there acting like heroes. The community is not out there doing things they're not trained to do. Mm-hmm. We were very fortunate, and I think one of the reasons that we did not have more people hurt is community members moved to their basements. They moved to areas within their house that they were safe. They didn't go to try to confront them. They didn't go to try to take on a task that they were not trained to do. And I think that's very important. So providing that information to the authorities, let the people who are trained to address that, and put yourself and your family into a safe situation while the police are addressing that.
It's a tragic situation. There's a little guy who's lost his dad, a mother who's lost her son, and family and loved ones of this man obviously are still hurting very much. The police officers who were involved, they're hurting very much over this as well. Good that we were able to get to the bottom of things as quickly as we were and to understand exactly what happened on that night.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a no-win case. There's nobody walking away from this feeling good. I think it's very important. It's very important for me. I think it's very important for our community to have that transparency to know what happened.
He is Indiana County District Attorney Bob Manzi. Thanks for the visit this morning.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. 24 and a half after 8 o'clock. Boomer Sports next. Matt with us from the WCCS newsroom after that.
This is Boomer Esiason with Sports Minute. The good news for the Giants is Jackson Dart returns. The bad news is they'll face some hungry Lions. Big Blue teetered into the feeble 5 at number 28. The Ohio delegation is next. The Browns are starting Shedeur Sanders. Good luck with that. While the Bengals defense is historically porous. The Raiders look like a lost cause and credit the talentless Titans for at least trying hard. I'm Boomer Esiason.
The guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, president of Leaf Filter, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and most of all, being known, loved, and protected. There are thousands of kids waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
Hi, this is Jess Cunningham, InFirst Bank customer and employee. I started banking with InFirst about 30 years ago. I came from a super small town, and I just really wanted that same community banking feel that I got from back home. And honestly, from the moment I walked in the doors of InFirst, I immediately felt at home, and 3 decades later, I'm still here. In 2017, I joined the InFirst Bank team as a marketing director, and it's safe to say that I truly love it here. InFirst Bank is authentic, there's no gimmicks, it's just really awesome small town folks giving you the best customer service because they genuinely care for you. And I get it, I know changing banks can be a pain, but trust me when I tell you that InFirst Bank is worth the switch. You guys need to try my bank, InFirst Bank.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
InFirst Bank, here for you since 1922.
From furniture to flooring, mattresses to accessories, you'll save big at Dowd's. Dowd's showrooms are filled with furnishings from America's finest manufacturers. You can save thousands on Dowd's floor samples and receive incredible savings on custom orders. Whether you're looking to furnish one room or your entire home, right now it's all on sale at Dowd's. Drive a little, save a lot. Dowd's of Plumville and Greensburg.
Doesn't your home deserve Dowd's?
Drive through fall and save big at Luther Ford. Right now at Luther Ford, lease a new 2025 Ford F-150 STX 4x4 or a new 2025 Maverick XLT. Your choice, just $399 a month. That's right, your choice, just $399 a month, and both with no money down. Plus, with 2 Luther Ford locations, the inventory is incredible. Luther Ford, Route 119, Homer City, and Admiral Perry Highway, Evansburg.
Greetings, George Tate at Tate Supermarket here. Want in on a secret? You can shop online for same-day delivery at Tate's in Clymer via the Instacart app. It's easy and convenient. Tate's is family-owned, has been here for over 100 years, and has been voted best in Indiana County. So whether in-store or online using the Instacart app, be sure to shop Tate's Supermarket in Clymer. To sign up, go to instacart.com.
Do you ever have questions in your life? Questions that you are searching to find answers to? Hi, I'm Pastor Ben Blowers with the Indiana Wesleyan Methodist Church, and I want to invite you to listen to our church-sponsored program, The Voice of Victory, every Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m. on this station, AM 1160 WCCS and 101.1 FM. Tune in and find biblical help, guidance, and inspiration for answering life's questions.